Hello everyone, I'm excited to bring you a new video today that's a flip-through video, not a process video. I finally finished my album for Vienna, so here it is. This is a 6x8 pocket page album from Ali Edwards. So it does have the 6-ring system, and I do want to say before I get started that not all of the page protectors I had were from Ali Edwards. So I had to take my crocodile and make holes that would match the way the binder is set up here. So some of the pages don't turn as smoothly as the Ali Edwards page protectors do because I had to manually make holes. But hopefully it won't deter anything about the album. So I thought it would be interesting to show just a few stats about this album. So I kept some notes here while I was counting. I used 11 inserts of different sizes. I used 6 different types of page protectors, and then I have 11 photo flips that are all contained in this album. So with that said, let's get started. And I do want to note a lot of these have process videos, not all. I would say maybe 80%. So if you haven't watched those, you can go back. But most of these layouts may look familiar if you've been following my Vienna series. So right off the bat, I started with a 3x8 insert from Ali Edwards. I really like this size. When it first came out, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to use that. I wasn't sure what I thought about it. But now that more of the digital manufacturers, the people that are independent and online, are making things in this size, I have found that I really like them. So this is just showcasing our train trip from Salzburg to Vienna. Here's another small insert of the train station when we arrived. Yeah, so this insert is from Simple Stories. You can tell it's a little tougher to turn because I had to manually make extra holes. And I did try to use most of Ali's page protectors. I just didn't have enough on hand at the time, and I didn't want to wait to do layouts to get those. Now here is a layout that when I did it in the process video, I actually added something after the fact, and it's just this sticker here. Underneath here, it does say Belvedere Palace as well, but it was in a different color. And when I put this all together, I noticed, there was a good amount of yellow there, and I actually had a sticker that said Belvedere in yellow. So I put that over the top. So that doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes it does happen where I make changes once the video is done and once it's in the album. So that is an example. This is more of the Belvedere outside. Here's another 3x8 insert, and this one is divided into 2 3x4s, which I love. And then this one, I used my fuse tool. Let's do this. So if the album were sitting up, that's more of, there you go, what you would see if you were looking at it the way that you should be rather than flat. So I added those in, sealed the pocket, and worked out perfectly with that kind of an insert. 4x6 insert here. I also like these because sometimes I just have like a random 4x6 photo that's left that I want to include, or I want it to be showcased in some way. So these come in very handy. Now, I do have to say, this is my least favorite style of page protector, and I think this is the last one I had. I might have one left, and I was really trying to find ways to use these up, and you can see why I don't like it right here. This stuff constantly slides out, so you either have to fuse it, staple it, something. So I'm going to try to stay away from these. They really only come in the variety pack with Simple Stories, so I think I'll just avoid doing that package. I'll just buy all the styles individually and do it that way. Another 3x8 insert there, and then, what did I say? I have 11 photo flips, I think. So I have quite a few in here. And if you've been following my series, you know I like to include ephemera and memorabilia in my pages. And so this was the actual Vienna Pass card that we were given. It was almost like a plastic credit card. So I kept it and I used it. I always joke around and say, when I travel, I keep all the crap. And I try to work in as much as I can. So like here I have a receipt from the tour of the Opera House. Here is part of the ticket, the actual ticket that we were given. So I do try to keep as much of that as possible and then incorporate as much as I can. Some more of the Opera House here and another flip, because it was so beautiful that I wanted to include as many photos as I possibly could. Another insert. I do like these, the 3x4 horizontals. It's a nice change of pace. So I've noticed I tend to use a lot of page protectors that are vertical. They use vertical orientation for photos, and I'm trying to get away from that, mix in more horizontal. So hopefully I was successful with this album. And then a full pager. I do like to work these in as well, because if you want to enlarge to a 5x7, this is perfect. You do have to cut off a little bit on each side, but it still works out, and then you get a nice enlarged photo that makes its own page. And then here I did a full page as well, but I only used a 4x6. So I think that gives a nice contrast between the larger one and a regular sized one. This is another somewhat odd page protector style. And again, I got this in a variety pack, so I've been trying to work through them. I don't mind this as much as the other one, although any layout that has 2x2 squares is a challenge for me. I'm still working on really getting a feel for how to use all of those. I think it came together well here, and one of the tricks I found is just taking a regular size photo and cutting it in 3 and seeing if it works with the design. Another 3x8 with 2 pockets there. Really enjoy these. It adds just a little something extra. Another thing I want to point out is that on this trip, my friend and I, we really made an effort to get ourselves in the photos. We knew, given we're seeing historic areas in Europe, we knew that it was going to be a lot of landscape shots, photos of buildings, historical things, but we wanted to make sure that we were in there as well, and I think we did a good job. I actually bought a selfie stick for this trip and used it. I had never had one before, so I was kind of proud that we brought it along, used it, and we got ourselves in here. There's another photo flip. Gorgeous photos. Plus I wanted to journal, so I had to get that all in there. And another one at the Hofburg Palace. I really love the color in this one. I had an alphabet and it just worked perfectly with these colors. Couldn't ask for much better. More pictures from inside Hofburg. And here's another fun flip there of our lovely desserts, because it was freaking hot outside. We needed to cool off. And then this was my favorite stop in all of Vienna. This is the National Library, and I think I have 4 layouts here. So that tells you, obviously, I enjoyed it. So I tried to kind of mix up what I was doing with the photos. Here's another insert. And this is a 4x6, but obviously I just used a 3x4 and did something else with it so it would fill the whole insert. And then on this side, I chose just to use a standard 4x6 photo and not really do anything for a background. So here's another full pager, but I used a 4x6 photo there. And then I had some memorabilia. I think that was actually a bookmark, and I just tore part of it off to make it work on the layout there. This is one of my favorite layouts. I just did this one not long ago, and I absolutely adore it. Here's another flip. And I will say, I noticed while doing this album, this particular page style tends to be what I use the most, where it's got 2 3x4s and a 4x6. I think that means I am working in more horizontals, which is great, because it used to be that I would use the 4 slots, 4 3x4s the most often, and I have moved away a little bit from that, so that's great. Another flip there. That was from the Jewish Museum. And now here we are moving on to Stephenplatz and St. Stephen's, and I actually had a sticker that said that as well, so I wanted to use it. And then here I did some stamping right on the photo. And there is a process video for that, so you can see that if you haven't watched it yet. This is one of my other favorites because I love this background paper and how the photo looks on it, and just the extra little sparkles that are on there. It doesn't take a lot to make a good layout, I don't think. Sometimes less is more, and that's the case here. Oh, you know what? I added this after the video too. I just realized this was blank and I thought maybe I was going to journal there, but I decided not to. And I put this on there instead. And this is a layout about something that was didn't go so well. We were not impressed with this river cruise. I believe in scrapping the stuff that's meh, or the things that go wrong, just as much as scrapping the things that go right, because it's all part of the story of the trip. This was actually the last layout I did for a process video in this album. So I had skipped around a little bit, so this was the last one. I included lots of memorabilia and ephemera here. So this actually came with our meal and I glued it on. So I was happy that I kept that and it made it home safely. And then the last full layout here, telling a story of we had a little snafu with our hop-on, hop-off bus. So I wanted to tell that story. And we ended up taking the U-Bahn because of it, which was a great experience. And then the last sort of half page here is just saying, okay, we're done in Vienna. Now we're boarding the train and we're off to Prague. So that is the entire album. I hope you've enjoyed watching me do the process videos of it and that you've enjoyed seeing the finished flip through. Thanks for watching, everyone.